Chief Alanis.
Try again, I was muted.
Chief Alanis. Joyce Lopez. Joyce. Joyce. Chief Perez.
Present.
Chief Gatto.
Present.
Heston Klink.
Present.
Chris Lilly. And Scott Stilgenbauer.
Present.
Todd Pryor is present, Ruby Cervantes is present, and Steve Estatico is present. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, guys.
That went about as smoothly as my kids pledge allegiance every day on their Zoom calls right now.
That's how it usually goes. So, first item, consent agenda. Approval of minutes of the meeting on August 19, 2020. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
Chief Pettis, approve.
I have a motion by Chief Perez. Do I have a second?
Chief Alanis, second.
Chief Alanis seconds. Thank you for joining us, Chief.
Hey, Joyce is here too.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. New business. Discussion on quarterly drills. The first one, review and discussion on Q4 drill. Somebody want to take the lead on this?
I can start here, Scott here. So we held the Q4 drill this morning. We ended up doing a virtual drill. I think it went well.
Scott,
Yeah,
we're here. Scott, I have a question for you before you start. I'm fairly new to this committee. Tell me, the Q4 drill is just your quarterly drill. What did that involve? And I'm sure you were going to...
Yeah, no problem, Steve. So yeah, the emergency service agreement calls out that 4 times a year we need to either hold a training session or a drill jointly with Resolution and Town Superior Emergency Responders. So we've taken the last few quarters off just due to COVID, and we came up with a plan for Q4 to do a virtual style emergency drill, where we came up with a scenario. So this morning Chief Gatto and the lady that works for me for G4S, we came up with a scenario of a rattlesnake bite call, and we held a WebEx this morning, and we went through and just discussed how the two teams would work together and treat the patient, and it went pretty well. We also covered some recent incidents both teams have had, and just discussed discussion around how to best treat the patient. So overall, some hiccups. I think they'll probably do it again in Q1, more than likely. That's the next agenda item there, but we're not going to be past COVID by then, so I think we're just going to plan to move ahead with another virtual style drill. Hopefully, like mid next year, we'll be able to get back in the swing of doing live drills, utilizing both teams together in person.
Who came?
Chief Gatto, anything you want to ask this morning?
Actually, I was, I'm very surprised that the drill went a lot better than I thought. You think it'd be kind of hard to go through a medical call, do a virtual meeting like that, to make it last long enough to make it worthwhile, but it made it for, well over an hour, 15 minutes, I believe, and I think it was good for for both sides, and that there was more participants than I was expecting, which was good, and had some great discussions. And we came up with some ideas even for the next time we do a virtual tour, what could we add to it to make it a little bit better, more interactive, and, you know, with some visuals and what have you. I thought it went pretty good for the first time, and I think the next time will be better.
Who came up with the rattlesnake idea?
That
That was just a combination.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, so Jake Dono and Monica Video on my team, so they talked through it. We were seeing a lot of rattlesnake calls to the station, so just kind of talk through how we would treat one of those.
Cool. I like it. Anybody else have any comments? Item number 2, upcoming drills, the 2021 Q1 drill. Do we have a timeline of when that may take place?
No, we'll get together with both teams and come up with a date. I'll probably shoot for sometime in February. January is just a great time of the year, so we'll probably try and I'm going to shoot for probably end of February, but I'll get with Chief Gatto and we'll come up with a good date for that.
Okay. Any other discussions with the drills? Item B is discussion around resolution project update. Anybody want to take the lead on that?
Yeah. Hudson, you want me to take that or you want to talk about it? Either way, it's totally fine.
I can, and Todd's on the call, so he and I have been kind of more involved as of late around the actual agreements and everything. I assume that's what the discussion is meant to be centered around, just because that was what I...
That and also
Scott,
just the
Scott.
project has a little bit about
Scott.
just the current phase of work and some of the scopes that have been recently, just to kind of squash any rumors around town, that kind of thing. I know Todd's probably pretty familiar, but I'm not sure about the rest of the team.
Ruby had just mentioned,
Yeah, Todd, or...
Ruby had just mentioned that Scott wanted to talk about this, so why don't we let Scott go ahead, Scott.
Sure, I'll give you a little bit of topic and then ask me to do a say, but, so just wanted to let everybody know on this committee, it was a big month for resolution. We completed 2 scopes of work that have been going on for quite a while. And unfortunately, you know, when you end a scope of work, the work stops and we move to the next phase. But it also means that some of the contracting workforce that we had working for us moves on as well, right? So the first scope of work was the Westland down in town. We've been working on reclamation and cleaning up the smelter-affected soils from magma for the last 14 years, and that work's coming to a close, and we're just getting our final clearances on those to show that they're completed. And that was done by Autoneto, and they had quite a bit of contractors working there. They're finishing up another scope of work, but that work's coming to a close pretty quickly. And also we finished the deepening of shaft 9, the historic shaft up at East Plant. We deepened that ahead of schedule, and Cementation did a great job for us there. And that scope of work officially came to a close last Saturday. So with that, there was a reduction in staff up there, the contractors, and it just has to do with the scope of work ending. And now we move to the next phase of work where we go back and we study, and we get ready for the next scope of work, which will come, you know, hopefully at some point mid next year. But you know, there's a lot of work that has to go into one of these big projects before we can jump into the next scope of work. So what it means for this committee here is just a little bit, you know, it reduces the number of physical bodies on site. So we're, you know, at one point earlier in the year, we're probably a little over, I'd say probably 300 or so on site. We probably cut that down to about half. So we're about, I'd say anywhere from 100 to 150 people max on site. So a little bit less risk for us. You know, the high hazardous work that we're doing in the shaft is kind of it's slow. We're still actively working in the shaft and doing some maintenance and other things that are going on. And we tried to retain as many of those sanitation contractors as we could to help us fill the gap between now and the next large capital scope. But at this point, just let everybody know, a little bit less people on site, a little bit less people in town you might see. But resolution's not going anywhere. We're just kind of gearing up for the next big phase now, and whatever that might look like. But there is a little bit less exposure on site. But still tons of high hazardous work going on. And we still have drilling activities up at East Plant. Still a lot of guys working in the shaft. There's still dirt work going down at West Plant. So still quite a bit of stuff going on, but a little bit less than earlier this year. Thanks, if you could just give the committee an update on the ESA and where we're at with that.
Yeah, no, happy to, and Todd, obviously, feel free to jump in anywhere you feel like. So I think everybody probably knows the existing ESA agreement expires early next year. We had certainly been planning on it and knowing full well we needed to continue it forward. Planned on starting to work on it around this time, and it was the timing was good when Todd and the mayor raised it about a month or so ago with our leadership. So it lit the fire to get moving faster. So we've been through a couple rounds of review on the new agreement. So the plan is right now, as it stands, is to implement a new agreement, maintaining the current funding levels on an annual basis, with a CPI or to account for inflation and everything through the life of the contract. And the term of the agreement would be, I believe it's 5 years for when we receive our notice to proceed from the business, right? Saying, okay, resolution, we're going to build this place and start getting ready, because that'll also be our trigger with the town and the community to really start preparing for what the future of construction and everything looks like. But it also allows for, instead of having to renegotiate at the end of the term if we haven't got that notice to proceed, it allows us to, sort of mutually agree that, hey, we just want to keep this thing going without having to renegotiate. We can do that on an annual basis moving forward. So I think that's kind of the highlight. It does remove some of the past requirements. The previous agreement was obviously a little bit heavier front-end loaded with capital and stuff to be able to purchase equipment and vehicles and everything that were needed, and then tapered off to the $200,000 a year. Since then, this agreement doesn't contemplate that front-end load, right? It's geared more towards maintaining what we're currently doing in the partnership, but like I said, increasing it on an annual basis to account for, cost of living, inflation, everything else that goes into that. Consumer price index. Did I miss anything, Todd?
Not really, no.
Anybody have any other comments on that? I would suggest that, just thinking about it, that PD and fire should probably start outlining some of the things that you're gonna want to request in the near future, so that we're a little bit prepared as we move ahead. So that's all I'll say about it. Item C. Go ahead, Heston.
I was just going to say, no, I agree, and I think, one of the things we're trying to achieve, at least from my perspective in this agreement, is take a little bit of the constraint off, and it's more geared towards, we'll just make a $200,000 a year payment, and obviously the capital plans and stuff still have to sort of flow through this committee and everything, and obviously be approved by the town council, but I think that there were some handcuffs in the previous agreement about, what the money needed to be directed towards. So, there is opportunity there to buy things that are needed, or if we're in a good place and we know we're gonna need something a year or two from now, you know, and there's room to save any of it, that can certainly happen as well. It doesn't all necessarily have to be spent in 1 year as far as anything we're concerned.
Okay.
There is, I guess the only thing I would add to that is there's still quite a bit of oversight this committee has to have with that money, well, I mean, no changes for anybody on the committee here of how we go through and itemize and review what the money is being spent on. It's just going to be lined up a little bit better to how we're actually currently distributing the money and just no difference than how we're doing it now with, you know, the how you meet with Sterling with the disbursements.
That's too bad. We were hoping we would have one less meeting to attend to a month, but, you know, that's okay. So, item C, discussion of resolution 2020-63, a resolution of the mayor and council of the town of Superior, Arizona, declaring as a public record that certain documents filed with the town clerk and entitled Town of Superior NIMS Compliance Policy effective July 1st, 2020. This was approved by the council on October 8th, 2020. Not sure, you want to take that one over?
I would like to say to the chiefs on the line that you guys get communications about these class opportunities that the rest of us do not. So since we've now decided we're going to train everybody at this level, we need to share that information a little more broadly with resolution and with the town. So whenever you get those notices in, please do share them with everyone so we can get ourselves out into those loops.
Yeah, we could do that, no problem.
We also maybe ought to look at hosting a local class for the, maybe after COVID loosens up, we can host a local class for our electeds and for our resolution partners. They have a lower level of requirement, most definitely, but they still need to get that class as conveniently as possible.
Yeah, I think once COVID is over, we get that lined up so we get everybody trained up, at least get started on it at the lower level and then work our way on up.
Any other comments? Item D, Town of Superior, September 10th, 2020. Town Council minutes approving 2021 capital expenditures of the police department. So I think it's just on there, just telling you guys that that was approved in September, and item E is the same. Town of Superior, September 10th, 2020. Town Council minutes, statement approving 2020 capital expenditures for fire department. Again, those items were approved at our September council meeting. So any other comments on anything out there?
Yeah, just one. Will we have a meeting in December, or are we gonna take December off? Or?
We will take December off. I will also, what I want you to think about too is, I talked to Ruby about this before, maybe having our meeting the same week as the council meeting, maybe on a Wednesday. That way we don't have an extra meeting for the month, help out our town staff. So think about that in the future as well. Other than that, I don't have anything else except I wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving and hope for the Steelers to win on Thursday night. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Got a motion to adjourn by Heston. Can I get a second?
Second, Chief Pettit.
I got a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
Very good. Thank you.